Mississippi on the Rural Radio Network, and it's time to take a look at our midday livestock trade with livestock market analyst Kyle Bumsted. And Kyle, we have done a turnaround here today after yesterday's sell-off. Tell me what you're making of the cattle market here today.
Well, that's right, Lacey. We have done a turnaround here after yesterday's sell-off. Yesterday we sold off and we closed at the lower end of value here in most of these live and feeder cattle contracts. Now, feeder cattle index today looks like it's going to be down 69 cents at 374.47 with a daily number of 374.40 on 10,026 head. Bigger volume than I expected. We saw Napoleon, North Dakota put in 1,700 head at 387. Delhart and Superior both put in 1,100 head at 370. Pratt and Woodward were both 367, and Valentine was 398. So that's kind of how that feeder cattle market wrapped up here yesterday. So we did also early this morning on the live cattle side of things here have regional here in Nebraska bidding up to 241 here. And then we also saw a lot of 240 come along here later on, and everybody's kind of been passing on that. We've also seen 378 dress, 380 dress bids. Passing, of course, we had some majors bidding 378 to 380. We also had 242 trade on the Fed Cattle Exchange here in Texas. We did see 243 trade on the Fed Cattle Exchange in Texas, and then there's 242 bids all over the South now. So I think the Packers have had to come out here and start to bid up till we get some cattle procured here for next week. That's kind of the way it looks. And we did see the board react to that. We shot out of the gate higher this morning right away. We did see these April live cattle go to 239.90 here, or excuse me, 240 even, and we're at 239.87 right now. So seeing a little bit of a support there, both the commercials and the non-commercials buying this thing here this morning. Now, we do have February live cattle option expiration that's going to take place here at the close, and a lot of that open interest is right here at this 240 mark.
That is livestock market analyst Kyle Bumsted with a look at our midday trade here on the Rural Radio Network.
This is the Blue Jacket Buzz. 95 years ago, when a dozen eggs cost 18 cents and a gallon of gas was 20 cents, the Waverly FFA chapter got its start.
I've got students now that their grandfathers were in Waverly FFA, and they talk about, I say, why are you here? I'm here because my grandpa talked about his positive experience.
Chris Spath is the Waverly FFA advisor, and she said she teaches the best of both worlds with the perfect blend of
small town kids and big city kids, and we're all mixed together here at Waverly. We're just 10 miles outside of Lincoln. I just feel like our program offers a little something, and it doesn't matter where you're coming from. They can find a place in our chapter where they can be successful and find out who they are.
The Blue Jacket Buzz is presented by the Nebraska FFA Foundation and the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources. Rooted in tradition, driven by innovation, leading Nebraska agriculture.
Welcome back to the Rural Radio Network for a check of your markets. Soybeans are still higher, though we have retraced about 15 cents back from the highs made earlier this morning. We've seen some big gains made in the complex with lofty expectations for continued buying business with China, though we have no confirmation from China of such a deal. And corn futures are lower. Demand for U.S. corn will likely start to decline as last week's export sales fell to a 4-week low. And South America's crop, though struggling in terms of crop condition, is still looking record large and at a hefty discount to U.S. offers. And wheat futures are lower with rising and much higher world wheat supplies. U.S. wheat is currently overpriced relative to the competition. And hog futures today are mixed. Cash trade is pretty light today, and we could see a lower day with some overbought market correction ahead of the weekend. March corn down 3.5 at 431.5. May down 3 1/4 at 439 3/4. March soybeans up 9 1/4 at 1121.5. May up 7 3/4 at 1133 3/4. March Chicago wheat down 5 1/4 at 530. May down 4 3/4 at 539 1/4. Kansas City March wheat down 5 3/4 at 532 3/4. May down 5 3/4 at 544 3/4. March soybean meal is up 140 at 304.60. March bean oil down a penny at 55.64. April live cattle up 482 at 240.42. June up 445 at 236.65. March feeders up 690 at 370.97. April up 710 at 367.60. April lean hogs down 22 at 98.15. May up 12 at 101.62. That's a look.